attempt to show this new app. It also works in browser. I'm using it in Chrome and it seems to work great. So it's either pronounced Kleki or Kleki. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, but that's kleki.com. I'll put it on the screen over here somewhere. And let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so when you first open up the app, you will see the brush selections over here. So the main brush is just a regular old paintbrush that you can find right there. You can zoom in and zoom out with these controls. The hand tool moves the image around just like that. You can create a new image by clicking over here. You can import an image with this button on top, or you can save your image. The one thing that you may not be able to do here that you might be able to do in other programs is really save stuff and come back to it for later. You don't really have an account, so it's not really going to save it to anything that, that you have. So anytime you do a drawing, before you exit out of Kleki, make sure you go ahead and save that. Looks like you can connect it to Google Drive, Dropbox, Flickr. You could try connecting it to your Google Drive account. So you just click Google Drive here, click Connect to Google Drive. It says connecting. You're going to select your account. It says File Stack wants to access your Google account. You're going to click Allow. And then you'll see your folders for your Google Drive account. And then you can just save it right in your Google Drive. Or you can create a folder for it, though it looks like you cannot create a folder here in this interface. You would have to do that inside of Google Drive. So I'm going to name this Test Kleki and hit Save As. And it's uploading my drawing to Google Drive, and then I should be able to find it there later. Let's take a look at some of the other tools they have here. I'm going to click on the brush, and on brush, I'm going to click on the word brush, and then we got a couple of different options. So first, we've got this color palette. So for changing the color, okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. So if I want like a light gray brush over here, I can do that. Then down here at the bottom, they've got different kinds of brushes. So they've got this one called a blend brush, right? So, and it's kind of translucent and it builds up over time. They've got this brush here, which is called a sketchy brush. You can see it creates a nice sketchy kind of look. This looks kind of like a pencil. Or this is kind of looking like a little person here. And we just draw a little person on there. And we can see how that works. It's got a very sketchy look. As we draw our sketch, this is good for quick pencil sketches and things like that. And then of course we have our eraser with the size and the opacity of the eraser. It also has something called a stabilizer. So here, let me go to my eraser and I'm going to make it a giant eraser. I'm going to erase everything on this layer here. And let me tell you how the stabilizer works. So there's a 0, 1, 2, and 3. Stabilizer is designed to help your lines look smoother. So let's say I'm trying to draw this smooth line all the way across the screen and it's a little bumpy, right? You're trying to get a nice smooth circle, right? The stabilizer is an attempt by the software to smooth out your drawings. So level 1, so that was level 0. So level 1 is going to be like this, which is a little bit better. Whoops, I made a little bump there. Level 2, actually let's do a circle on level 1. So another circle on level 1, that's a little bit better. Level 2 stabilizer, it's a little bit straighter. And the circle should look a little bit better. Okay, and then level 3 stabilizer is the most. And you can see here that is the straightest line. Notice how slow it takes for, or how slow the line actually draws behind the cursor. And then on the circle, we're gonna do the same thing, and that's gonna be the smoothest of all the circles. Okay, now note when you have stabilizer on, it doesn't actually give you good, doesn't show your hand as much, meaning all the little quirks that you want your hand to be making to make it look like a real hand-drawn image. So for example, I'm going to try my signature just my first name here. I'm going to do it first in level 0, stabilization, Jeff. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same signature in level 3, stabilization. Right? It stabilized my line so much that you can't really even tell what it is. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple of other things here as we start to look at our brushes here. This brush has, of course, there's the size control, the opacity control. So if you want it to be less opaque on your brush, let me bring the size of the brush up a little bit. It can be a little bit more transparent. So that's at 17% opacity. This is at 5% opacity. You can see how it's a little bit more of a transparent brush. We also have options for a couple of different types of regular brushes. So this one has more of a pencil-y effect, or maybe charcoal. This one is more of a calligraphy pen. And then we've got this one, which is a square-ended pen, and almost like a squared off Sharpie marker. One of the things that I wanted to show you was how to draw some straight lines here. If I wanted to draw a straight line, if you hold the shift key down, it will just only draw in straight lines. And that's good for getting boxes down if you want to get some perfectly good boxes in. But if you want to do a perfect diagonal, you can also, if you click and hold shift and click again, it draws a straight line between two dots. So if I wanted to draw a perfect diagonal across that box, you would click on one corner, click on the opposite corner, click, and then you get a perfectly straight line. One other thing that is pretty neat with this program is on the help menu, they've got really cool things to offer in terms of shortcuts with the keyboard to make drawing faster, but they also have some fairly decent video tutorials that were created by art teachers. There are several middle school art teachers in here that have created some videos, and they're all pretty good. And overall, I think this is a great way to create some art. Okay, so before I left, this is Kleki on an iPad, and I wanted to show you the difference in something using it on a computer with a mouse and using it on an iPad. So it works pretty well, using it to sketch out certain ideas. In case you really wanted to draw something interesting with it, really thinking about the things you're drawing with it. I'm just going to sit here and draw with it a little bit, and maybe try to draw a character out with it. And then you could take another layer. That duplicates the layer. I don't want to do that. I want to add a new layer that's blank. And I might even take my original layer and lower the opacity of it so I can't see it as well. And then on my new layer, on my brush, I might make my brush a little bit bigger. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And then I can use that brush to really get in some more details here. And I'm going to fill that with a color. There we go. There's my space age hero. Let's give him a I'm going to add another layer. Let's add it here. And I'm going to put some white details on there. There we go. There's a quick sketch of a hero. That didn't take too long. All right, so that's Kleki. If you really want to save your layers, there's a couple of options. One is browser storage. Now, if you click it, it's going to give you this warning. It'll save it in your browser, but sometimes your browser just dumps memory to make room for new tabs and things that you're opening up, and so it could delete it. And it says that it could, depending on disk space and settings, it could just delete, the browser could just delete it by itself, and that you should hit save for permanent storage of an image. If you really wanted to save individual layers and that was really important to you for use in the future, what you could do is for each layer, you could turn off all the other layers and go to File, Save, and save each individual picture separately for each layer. And then you could, in case it did get lost, then you would at least have something as a backup. All right, I hope everyone enjoys using Kleki.